Okay, welcome back to Software Engineering Fundamentals video tutorial series on using Git. In this second video, we're going to be checking in our initial source files. That means we have source written on our local machine, but we want to put it in our remote repository in the cloud so that all our team members can pull it and have access to it. So in this sense, this is the very first commit or very first push of source that we're going to be doing for our project. All right, so we want to do this as early as possible at the start of a project. And as in the last video, you don't want to leave creating your repository and doing your initial commit of source files too late into your project, because you want to get the benefits of Git. And the longer you wait, the more problems you're going to have. So do it at the start of your project. All right, so we're going to be learning a few commands. One is adding source files. We'll do that through Eclipse, and then committing and pushing, and we'll also do that through Eclipse. All right, so last week we created our repositories, linked them, and pulled. So the next step we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding these 4 source files. So one's helloworld.java, vocabulary.java, testhelloworld.java, and translator.java. So we've got these 4 source files we've written. We want to add those to our repository. Now that's not the same as committing or pushing. What that means is we're adding them to what's called a staging area. Okay? And that just means Git think of it as your local Git is now knows about these 4 files, because there's plenty of other files that we want Git to ignore. What we're telling Git to do is say, track these files from now on, and we put them in the staging area. All right, so let's do that. So we're in Git, and well, actually, I'll just show you on disk where those 4 files are. In the source directory, they're the 4 files we're going to be adding, which are the same 4 files that we can see here under our source in Eclipse. Okay, so we just want to add them. So what we do is we right-click on the project, or control-click on a Mac. We go down to the team menu, and we use the Add to Index menu option. Now, I probably need to select those 4 files, or no, it'll probably come up with a dialog. Okay. All right, let's probably added the entire project. Let's have a look. Let's have a look and see what it's done. So down here on the bottom, we've got these menu options. There's a Git Staging here, and as you can see, it's added all these files to the stage changes area, including the .class path, the .gitignore, the .project, the ones I told you should never add to Git. So we really don't want those in there. All right, so let's see if we can figure out a way to get rid of those and unadd them. We'll just unadd the whole lot. Remove selected files from the index. So adding them to the index is synonymous with adding them to Git. What does this one do? Including not selected ones. Okay, that would remove all of them, whether I selected them or not. This just removes the selected ones. All right, so remove the selected ones, and we've just undone what I did. So what I really want to do in Eclipse is I only want to select these 4 source files, and then I'll right-click on this selection of 4. Doesn't matter which one I right-click on, and then go to Team and Add to Index. So that should only add those 4 Java files. Okay, and you can see now we've got these 4 Java files down here in the stage changes. Okay, so that matches what we want here. These 4 files we want to put in the staging area to those 4 files. That's what we've just done. All right, so they're not committed yet. So what we want to do is commit and then push them. Now, there is a quick way to do this with the button you can see down here called commit and push, but I want to do them separately just to teach you a little bit more. All right, so you could use this commit button, but I'll show you the normal way, because normally you'd be editing source files and you may not have this Git staging area open. What you can do from anywhere, you can right click in the project, you can go down to team again, and you can just click commit anytime you want to commit what you've staged, or anytime you edit a file that's already been added, it will be tracking those changes, so you can commit any changes you've done. All right, so whoops, what have we just done? Okay. All right, that doesn't seem to have done anything. All right, anyway, we're committing. I think when you click commit from the file menu, all it does is bring up this Git Staging tab and put the cursor in this box. So we were already there, so it didn't seem to have any effect. Right, so maybe I'll show you that. If I go back to problems and then do that commit again, team commit, see, that's what it's done. It brings up the Git Staging tab and gets your cursor ready for entering a commit message. Now I want to show you some wrong things to do, so I'll just click the commit button, and it won't let me do anything because it says you must enter a commit message. All right, so we have to enter a commit message in there. Okay, so what we are doing, this is our sort of initial check-in. Now, there's already been a commit called initial commit by the GitHub when we created our repository. So let's call this initial commit of source files, something like that. Spell initial right. Something like that will do. Probably unnecessary, but you type in, with commit messages you should be try to be succinct, but also have enough information in there to uniquely identify what changes you've made, and this will help developers know what changes they're getting, and it'll, when you have issues and you need to go back through the commit history, it's good to have good commit messages that are basically explaining the reasons or what you actually changed. Don't say things like edited hello world.java. That's not helpful. It's things like fixed bug number 263 where the size of the array was wrong, or something like that. It gives some good information. All right, so after we've put that commit message in, we can click commit. And you briefly saw a little blue progress bar down the bottom there. You can go back in your video and watch it if you didn't see it. So we should have a commit done in our repository. Now the next step we want to do, let's go back to the diagram. So we added to the staging area, and I skipped this bit of the diagram. Okay, so first of all, we added to the staging area, and just then we committed. Those files that were in the staging area are now committed, which means it's created a new version in our local repository with those four files that were in the staging area are now in what we call a version or a commit. Now notice that this version is not in the remote repository yet. It's only local. Okay, so but we want to put it in the remote. So that's another step called push. All right, so the next step we're going to do is we're going to push this new version from our local Git repository up to our remote Git repository, and so it'll have that second version there. So far we've only got two versions or two commits, so we want to get that second one there. So let's do that. All right, so what we're going to do again is right click on our project. And by the way, when I'm right clicking on the project, it's always in the Java perspective over here. Okay, there are some other perspectives for Git, which I might talk about later, but the easiest way to do it is, and where you're normally working, is in the Java perspective. Okay, so right click on the project. Whoops. Right click on the project, go down to the team menu again, and what we want to do this time is push. Now there's a couple of pushes there. Push to upstream will work. That will sort of do everything automatically, assuming there's no errors or issues or merges to worry about. That'll do it. But what I want to show you is push to branch master, so we can learn a bit more. Okay, so let's click that. All right. Now we should check that the commit is listed here. Okay, so we've got 49 EBA662. Okay, and it says initial commit of source files for Hello World translator. That was the commit message, this one here, that I just entered. So this is our commit. And so we want to push, there's only one. So if you can do multiple commits. So you could commit, and then push. So you could have a number of them listed. In our case, we only have one. So we want to push that single commit up to our remote repository, which is called the origin. There it is there. So it's going to the right place. It's on the right branch master. Make sure that master is there. And we want to make, and merge is the normal default way of doing it. Rebase is a good thing. Might talk about that later, but that's an advanced topic. So we'll just use merge, which is the default. And we won't click this. All right, so what we want to do is then click preview. So that won't actually do the push yet, but it'll just give you a preview of it. It'll just tell you what it's going to do. And if it's going to fail, it'll tell you that it's going to fail too before it actually does it. Okay, so in this case, it's working, and it lists the message and the commit ID there. Okay, and so we can just go ahead and push this. I should just show you, if we go back to our GitHub account, and I think we're looking at our commits now. We refresh. We've only got that single commit there from what GitHub did for us, the initial commit with the README file in it. Now we'll push this, click push, and there's a little progress bar down the bottom here, 23%. Okay, so that's done. Now if we go back to GitHub and refresh our browser, hopefully, aha, there we go. We've got our second commit here with the right commit message. Now I can click on this and it'll go into that commit and show me all the changes. Now in this case, there weren't any old files that we're editing. So it's the whole file is green because it's a whole brand new file. Had we edited one line of an existing file, you would see that only one file would be green. Because we're only changed that file. So that's why it's all green here, because there are whole brand new files that we're initially checking in, so which is what we expected. So I've got our hello world.java, our test hello world, our translator file, and our vocabulary file. All right, so that's now in GitHub. So if we go back to our diagram, we have pushed to the remote repository. So in summary, what we did was we added our files from our working directory, so they were just on disk, into the staging area, step one. And then from the staging area, we committed those into a local version, a local commit. And then the third step is we pushed our local commit up to the remote repository so everyone can have access to it. All right, so obviously the next step would be for our team members to then pull to get that new commit with that source file in it so they can start editing it. And that will be the topic of the next video, video number 3. So look forward to seeing you then. Bye.